Hey guys, I'm Serge Sorian, and today we're looking at Webflow Sitemap Indexing Button. In this video, you will learn how indexing and crawling works, just the raw basics of it. Then we're going to look at what that button actually does on your Webflow website. Then we're going to look into scenarios where you want to use that button and when you don't want to use that button. And at the end, we're going to learn just a bit about how other tools, how other technical SEO tools like robots.txt or canonical tags can also help you use this button to its full extent. So without further ado, let's dive right into that. So search engines work in 3 stages. First one is crawling, second one is indexing, and then the third one is ranking or just serving content, right? So each one of those are as follows. So crawling is looking for information, finding it, and storing it in the database. That's done by crawlers. They just look around the internet, press on random links, walk around pages, walk around your website, walk to other websites that you link on your own website. They kind of follow the trails and gather everything back to the index of search engines, right? Indexing is analyzing, storing, and organizing all that information. So when your page or when one of your pages is in index, that means that it can be found through search engines, which brings us to the last step, which is ranking and serving content. So after pages have been found, so crawled, they've been analyzed, so indexed, and they have been put in search engine database, it can be accessed through search engine results for specific keywords based on that analysis. So that's very short, very oversimplified version how search engines work, which brings us to Sitemap Indexing Button in Webflow. This button allows you to control which web pages you want to show up in search results and which web page you don't want to show up in search results. That's the bottom line. But what does it actually do? Well, Sitemap Indexing Button in Webflow does 2 things. First, it adds meta robots no index tag to your head code of that page. And then secondly, it removes that page from your sitemap. That's basically what it does. What meta robots no index tag does, you ask? Well, it provides data to crawlers that whenever they find that tag, to send a response code to index so that they can remove this page from the index. Therefore, this page will not be served in search results from now on. Well, when you submit sitemap to Search Console, search engines will know that these are the most important pages on your website and will check from time to time of what new pages you added. So by not having this on Search Console, it's very easy to control your crawling budget. Search engines don't crawl pages that you don't want to be crawled. So that's basically Sitemap Indexing Button in Webflow in a nutshell. But let's look at a few examples. By default, this button will be always set to on in Webflow. But when should you turn it off? Well, you should turn this button off whenever you have pages that are duplicate pages, low quality pages, or doorway pages. In other words, any page that you have a better version of or is not helpful for users to be found in search results, you should just set this button to off. There are a few scenarios where you might think that turning it off is the right way, but 2 conditions can make this a bad decision. And usually those conditions are either you have incoming internal links on your website to this page, then you cannot turn it off. Or other websites link to this page externally, which means you have a backlink to this page, then you should not turn it off. You should not turn it off in these cases. Why is that? Well, because if you yourself within your website or anybody else online is linking to this page, it probably means that it has some sort of value, therefore it should show up in search engine index, right? So beware of that. Just think about that whenever you're wanting to turn it off. Now, let's jump into next few steps where we're gonna discuss robots.txt and canonical tags, as they kind of are connected to this topic. So knowing how they work is kind of mandatory to know and use this button correctly every time. Let's start with robots.txt file. This file allows crawlers to understand which pages or which sets of pages you don't want them to crawl. And by default, in most cases, they will obey these rules. So if you say, don't crawl my blog, so anything that is inside your blog CMS collection, crawler will read that and will just never open it, thus never crawling it. Which brings us to, if your page is already indexed and you want it unindexed, thus turning off the button in Webflow, well, if you would also add a rule in robots.txt that crawlers should not crawl this page, well, it's not going to get de-indexed, because to de-index your web page, crawler first has to access it, and robots.txt forbids crawlers from even accessing that page, so they never find that meta robots no index tag just because they never go to that page. So that's something to keep in mind. Lastly, sometimes there are situations that you link to those pages, but you don't want them indexed and you don't want them to show up in search engine results. Well, there is another tool you can use, which is not exactly de-indexing a page, but it kind of helps to show a different result instead. That's canonical tag. So if you add a canonical tag, which Webflow does by default, self-referencing the same page that you are on, it just shows that this is the original version, the main and the best version of this content and web page. Well, if you have a situation where you have multiple pages around similar subjects, but one of them is clearly the best, then other worse quality pages can just have canonical tag linking to that main page, thus explaining to search engines that, hey, I have a few pages on the same search intent or keyword set, but this one is the best. So using canonical tags can also help you out in some scenarios. All right, so let's wrap up what we learned today. Crawling websites is finding information, finding new pages, finding new links, finding images, text, content, documents, headings, everything. That's crawling. Indexing is organizing that information and then so you can serve it on your search engine. The new button in Webflow allows you to disable search engine ability to serve that page in search results. And then if you use robots.txt as an extension to help crawlers, and especially specific types of crawlers, to not access certain areas of your page, that's another tool you can use in combination with this button. And also don't forget that if you cannot de-index a page, and it has to be there because it has incoming links from other websites or incoming links from your website, you can always try to just use canonical instead to make things easier. So yeah, hope you enjoyed this video. It was a very brief and very simple explanation of what it does. Many of you in the community asked me for it, so I just decided to kind of shoot it. And also, this is the new format I will be going for, lots to improve. Let me know if you have any tips or advice or anything, just in the comments below. Let me know what other topics do you want me to talk about? Do you like the format? And also, in general, what you kind of expect from me in the future. All right, guys, see you around. And in conclusion, websites are never done.